Well, anytime you're on a losing streak, you're just happy to win a game. Sometimes you need to find a way to win. I thought there were some things we did in that game that were very, very good. I wasn't real pleased with the finish, but give Fred credit. I mean, he's got three or four guys on that team. Allen is and McGowan are two of the better players that we'll face in this league, and they, caught fire at the end. We're still not finishing games, but we needed to get our wings going. I thought AJ helped do that. He got people the ball. I thought Aaron Henry played his best game as a Spartan, and doesn't surprise me. He did the things he had to do. He got to the free throw line. He got in the paint. He pulled up and hit a couple of shots. He made a couple threes. He just kind of did it in the way he should do it. And I think Josh Langford starting to, play a little better, and I expected that. I thought AJ did a pretty solid job on the offensive end. He's got some work to do on the defensive end, but did some things that I think are going to help us, and that was good. My next line of business is to make sure that we get Joey, who just isn't getting as many shots as I'd like, and Rocket, putting him in a position on that wing or on the break where he can really do some things. If we can get those two guys going, both on the offense and defensive end, I think our team improves a lot. Good teams got two or three guys that are really playing well, and they got two or three guys that fit the roles, and that's what I'm trying to do with ours. As far as Rutgers goes, no one I like in this league more than Steve Peichel, not because we're playing him. He's just been a guy that since day one, he has humility and humbleness. He kind of coaches with an old school mentality. His teams are tough. They work hard. And I love the way he's built it. It reminds me of what we did here. He got those freshmen, got a couple kids, local kids. He played those freshmen and took his lumps. I thought last year they got better. This year they're a lot better. I mean, there's no question that Ron Harper has turned himself into not only one of the best players in the league, but I think one of the better players in the country. I think he's upped his value tremendously. And I think that's what happens when a team plays together. Baker was hurt a little early. He was their point guard last year. He's not even back to true form yet, but he is improving each and every game. And then you got those other two wings, Mathis and Young, and Young's got to be one of the other most improved players in the game. So you put all that together, they've now got experience. They got experience that took their lumps. And I think that's always a critical part. At least that's the way it was for us, because guys know what it's like to go through the grind and fail. In this day and age, it's hard to let anybody fail. They failed early, and they just kept getting better, and that's a great credit to Steve and his team. And then to top it off, Miles Johnson, a kid that could barely get up and down the court his freshman year, is blossoming into a very nice player. Then you got the two young kids coming off the bench. So they've got experience now. They were a little short on depth because of some injuries. They're getting that back. I still think this is one of the best teams in the league. And I think they might have as well-coached team as that we have in this league. So that's where I'm at with Rutgers. That's where I'm at with Michigan State. I'll take questions.
First question from Max Charville.
I know the Nebraska win, you don't like have a parade or anything for, and you've talked about the difficulty of this conference. Is the upside of it almost that when you have another tough team coming in a couple nights later, it offers you that opportunity to really kind of build some momentum at this point?
Yeah, I think so. I'd be lying to you if I told you yesterday's and today's practices weren't better. Just because, everybody's human, Even writers get down if their team's not winning, Parents get down, girlfriends get down, players get down, coach gets down. I mean, just the way it works. And so I think that's true. This will be our fifth-ranked team that we've played. And so we've got to keep everything in perspective a little bit. It's only our second home game of 5, and I'm not sure home or away is as much of an advantage as it used to, but it still is different. And so I think bringing in a team that I think, they all but beat Iowa the other day. They got a big win over Illinois. This is a very, very good basketball team. They had Ohio State down 15-12 most of the game, and then all of a sudden, the last 6-7 minutes, I think Ohio State went on a 21-1 run. And so this team, I mean, I say it could be undefeated, and I think too that they're getting some people back now. I mean, I thought Baker was going to be one of the best players, and he is going to be, but it's taking some time for him to get back from the injury. So, yeah, getting him in here and getting a chance to really see where we're at, I think, is important. As I said, I think for us to be great, we got to get Rocket and Joey going a little bit more, and some of that is on me. And so I'm going to take that challenge and see if we can do it both ways.
And the way AJ played the other night, a lot of people talking about, hey, maybe Michigan State's finding some things out of point guard. How do you see him responding to that? Maybe some of that, that positive reaction out there. Is he the kind of guy that can handle that stuff and not,
Yeah, we're gonna find out. Today's practice, I made sure he knows that he's still a freshman that doesn't know anything. I think that's all part of the process. And the great part is he wasn't a McDonald's coming in. So he hasn't been over pampered. Although every kid's been pampered nowadays, but he hasn't been over pampered. His dad is a guy that is pretty hard on him. So I think he keeps his humility and keeps working. I mean, it's not like he was Cassius Winston out there, but at the same time, I think you're right. I think he ran our team. I think he can make some plays on the break that come natural to him, and that's kind of what we're looking for. But you got to give Aaron and Josh credit too. They did some things with the ball when we got it to them, and so I think we're going to keep building on that. I've been my never-ending chore at center, but if I had to be honest with you, I feel like I'm getting some progress out of Mahdi, and I think I don't believe I'm going to say this because I keep going up and down with him, but Marcus Bingham has been very good in practice about last week, and so we're going to need his size some too. So we're making some progress. We got a long way to go, and yet I've been pleased with the way we've practiced, and hopefully that'll mean we'll start playing consistently better.
Go next to Chris Lori.
With AJ, just watching him kind of go north and south down the lane a little bit, how much does that help and affect the big guys, both from his ability to get in there and draw guys, maybe some of the missed shots as well? And you've talked a lot about the missed shot being a good force of offense for the big men.
Yeah, I think it's very true, Chris. I think you've got to penetrate. If you penetrate, you get a chance to get to the free throw line more, which we did. The last two games, we've gotten to the free throw line a little bit more. We talk about when you get in there and you get a shot up, bigs are helping on you, and that gives our other bigs a chance to rebound. We get some chance for kickouts, which we're just starting to work on, because people are swarming you. There's still a lot of growth in this team and a lot of growth in each one of our personnel, but if you get some of the things, and I keep saying it, it's no insult to anybody, it's just everybody plays their position, everybody does their job, and I'm not sure that the coach's job is to put players in a position they can be successful. And so when I said I look in the mirror, sometimes you don't have as great an opportunity to do that, but you got to find it. And we've been searching, we're trying to find it. But I still think for us to be great, AJ's got to do that, but Rocket and Joey now got to take their game another level. And if we're going to, take another step up, it won't be just what AJ does, it'll be what all four of those other guys do.
And as a follow-up with that, you mentioned about the rebounding as well. In the last two games, you got been out rebounded. Is that an area for concern, or do you emphasize that maybe a little bit more here, particularly with Rutgers, the way that they've been so aggressive?
Yeah, I think it tells a lot about our program and the things we've done. You guys have been at a million practices where we played the war game, and people, well, it's too physical, or well, it's this and that, Well, this year we didn't do it. I mean, we didn't do it all in May, June, July, August, September. I mean, October here, remember, we still weren't allowed to have contact. And so I think it reaffirms my belief that if you don't practice it, you don't do it. And now, it's been a little harder because you got games so often. So, I think we'll get better at it, but some of it is we've been smaller. Some teams we've played have been bigger. Some of it is we're not getting enough rebounding from our wings. I mean, Josh got one big one, but he got one rebound. Aaron has got to rebound more. We think Gabe Brown's got to rebound a lot better. And if we do those things, Hauser's been rebounding pretty well, and maybe get some size, whether it be Mahdi. Actually, the guy that's been rebounding pretty well is Malik. So we need to get Mahdi. We need to get some of our big guys going a little bit on that. But I think for me, it affirms that if you don't work on it, you're not as good at it. And that has been one of our staples. I mean, it's not like we're getting killed on the boards. And remember, everything's been kind of screwed up by that Minnesota loss where we take 70 shots and make 18. I think they got 100 rebounds that day and maybe more. And so it kind of distorts things a little bit too.
Hey Tom, a few weeks ago when you were talking to us and you were praising the Breslin Center facility, you mentioned taking like a quiet walk around there. And I'm just curious, has that been something that's been somewhat of a ritual for you, like your pre-practice, free throws? And the reason I bring it up is the NCAA announced that there's going to be that bubble format with all games being in Indianapolis. And I wonder if that's something that you can kind of see the benefit of, kind of, focusing on one space and getting the most out of it.
I think it is. I really do. And I think our people did do an incredible job. It was kind of funny. Mike Garland and I walked down there today because sometimes we practice upstairs, sometimes down. We hadn't been downstairs in a while because we had a road game. We had a lot of road games. And, Mike said, man, it's even looking better because they've added a few more things. I've got one more thing for the families I'm going to do. And then that'll be it. But, I just appreciate the job everybody's done. I mean, this has not been an easy time on any of us. And it's not been an easy time on you guys. That's why we're trying our best to get Max to give you some access. And I keep saying there's got to be more, but when you got a game, you get in at 3 in, get home at 4, and then you got a game a day, 2 days later. It's a little difficult on the players too. So, the ritual is it just makes me appreciate all the alums that have played here and the people that helped me get, where I am. And I think for the players, we're trying to do one more thing where we're going to get their families up there. And the reason is they miss their families. Some of them have not seen anybody since July, and that's not the norm here because usually parents come up, we recruit in a geographic area, and for the most part, ironically, the mom that's been up has been Julius's, and she's from the longest distance away. Tellis is usually up from Alabama. I just haven't been able to do that as much. So, we understand it's been hard on them. I don't know if we'll ever really appreciate what this year has been like for all of us. And yet, they're 20. I'm a little older than I should be able to handle a little bit more.
Jerry Carino from the Arizona Northwest.
Hi, Tom. Greetings from New Jersey. When you watch film of Rutgers, Iowa from Saturday, what jumped out at you?
Well, I thought Rutgers could have won the game, and it sounds corny because we play them, but I've talked to Steve a lot over the first couple of years he's been there, especially early on when he was struggling, because I just saw something in him I really appreciated as a coach. But, I think those wings have improved so much. Mathis and Young have improved so much. And, everybody knew Harper was going to be good. But I think as Baker comes on, they maybe were a little lax in depth inside. They had to play is it Ryan? What's the kid, 21, Ryan, Reber, there you go. And, maybe he wasn't ready for all that, but I think they could have won that game just as easy as not. And I really do mean this. I think as Baker continues to get back to his form of last 2 years, I mean, a year ago he might have been the best player on their team, right? And so the injuries have set him back a little bit, and yet that was a hell of a basketball game, and one that, especially the way the one ended the year before with the bank-in shot from behind the backboard. I thought the same thing was going to happen the other way, and maybe Rutgers was going to win it. But, very, very good game, very good Big Ten game, and physical, guys playing hard. Steve's guys, they mix it up, they play hard. You got to love that about them.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome.
We'll go next to Jenna Bartle from the State News.
My question is similar to Lindsay's. With the announcement earlier today with the NCAA tournament taking place completely in Indianapolis, what are your thoughts on that, or Indiana? What are your thoughts on that? How does that change your expectations maybe of the tournament?
It's great to me. I think it's smart. I really do. I think it's a good job by the NCAA. I think, how they're going to do it, I don't know. But, not because it's local for us or more local, because who knows if you even, where you are, if you're in, if you're not in, where it's going to be played, who you're going to be playing. Those are all the things that are exciting about the tournament. But I think they're trying to look ahead. And when it's already the middle of January, you're only a couple months away, and you got to make plans. You can't do this late. So I think they've hung on to see how this pandemic's going to go, how the vaccines. But we know that we're going to be in this for a while yet, where it's not going to be freedom, except in these crazy states that lets everybody walk around without masks on and encourages that crap. So other than that, I think if we take care of our business, I think this is going to be the best alternative. And I think, we're doing what's best for the players, what's best for the game, what's best for the schools. So, it works so well in a different kind of way for the NBA. I think they've already got the blueprint. I think Danny Gavitt and that group has done a great job of checking with the NBA and figuring out how they could kind of do things somewhat similar. It's going to be crazy down there. I'm hoping by then fans are allowed somewhere. I'm hoping even media. I'm even pulling for you guys to get in to show you how maybe it's a New Year's resolution. I don't know, but I think it'll be really good. I really do. You're welcome.
We'll go next to Brendan Quinn.
Tom, with Rockets sliding over to the 2, and the guys there are already kind of being bulk minute guys, right? Aaron's at 30, Josh at 25, Dave gets 20. How do you see that actually playing out?
Well, I think some of those guys will get a little less minutes. I think still Rocket's going to play some point. I just don't want the burden of that on him all the time. I really do. But he was getting 22, 23 minutes. I mean, I see him getting solid minutes. What you got to realize about Rocket is he's still our best defender. He's still our most athletic guy. And I just put all that pressure on him to do those things that you have to do as a point guard. And I want him to have more freedom to do the things that he can do and get him the break, drove baseline a couple times, made some good plays. But you're right, it's going to be that'll be the next challenge that I think will be fine. I talked to Gabe and Aaron and everybody. I mean, those 4 guys are a pretty good mix, but he'll still get more than a couple minutes at the point. It just won't be a steady dose of it.
We'll go next to Kyle Austin.
Tom, you mentioned a couple of times about wanting to get Joey going a little bit more. Does that just mean getting the ball to him more, getting him more shots, or the things you'd like to see him doing a little bit differently?
Both. Every divorce is, it's a two-way street. There's, and I looked at Joey and spent some time with him on the plane. In fact, all the way home, we watched some film of the Wisconsin game, of this game, of that game, to really look at why he isn't. And some of it is he's not being aggressive enough, and some of it is we're not getting the ball. I mean, he gets 6 shots a game. A shooter can't get in any rhythm in that way. So, you know, he's had a couple of injuries during games, and it kept him out some minutes and foul trouble once. But he's really a good player that we need. I mean, we need Joey. So we've put in some things for him that we think will help, and I think he has a good feel and understanding of what we're doing too. So it's going to get better. It's all part of what I told you. I said it'd take half a year for him and Josh. You know, Josh had a big game, but he just came off a game when he wasn't as good. We just got to get everybody playing together, and I think that would be the common cry for most teams that are trying to work a bunch of new guys in. You know, that's what we're going to do. I mean, we're going to get him some shots. I mean, he's a guy that should get 10, 12 shots a game, not 6. And that's going to be my job a little bit, player's job a little bit, and Joey's job a little bit. So we'll take a third, and we'll get this better.
Time for a couple more, those deep books.
I got 2 things for you. When you talk about getting Rocket back going and bringing his minutes back, would starting him in place of Josh, is that in the thought process at all, or is that somewhere you don't want to go with that?
You know, I could. I mean, I could go there. I think Josh would be okay with it. You know, Rocket has been great. I mean, he's been in here working every morning like I never seen. So I think like everybody goes through, you know, you come to that meeting when you do look in a mirror and you say, okay, I can blame this guy, and blame the situations, but what can I do to get better? What I love is he's trying to do the things he needs. Today, comes early, knocks on my door, wants to watch film. You know, I think he's really starting to understand what he has to do. You know, it's not what basketball was like for him. And, you know, you could go anywhere in the world and it's not going to be the way it is in college. And so I think he's good right now. You know, we do look at some things with Josh on minutes. He played a lot of minutes, but you know, we're not going to do that and burn him out. We talked about moving Aaron around a little bit. We have some things I think we're going to do. Rocket will be fine. He's been absolutely great. Always handled everything. And, you know, this has never been a place everybody wants to start. But I think when you've had 6th and 7th men that have been all Big Ten players, you had a player of the year that was 6th man for 3 of his years. I just don't think it has the same, everybody understands it here a little bit better. And if you asked Rocket tomorrow, would you like to start? And he said no, I'd get rid of him. You know, I want everybody to want to start. But if you said, is it really bothering you? I think you'd be shocked at his answer. You know, he just wants to play and play good. And I think that's going to happen.
And then if I could ask you about Aaron and AJ's relationship, you mentioned a couple of times that he's sort of taken AJ under his wing. I think you mentioned that might have been your idea or some people that pushed him toward. I think he hosted him on his recruiting visits maybe too. What did you see between those two that you wanted to put as kind of right there?
Well, I think that's true. You know, he lives with Gabe, and Gabe has done a good job too. But Aaron has taken the AJ to Aaron. This was back in the summer, and you know, it helps. I mean, it helps when you got a veteran guy that'll help mentor a young guy. And I think the best of AJ is, you know, we haven't even scratched the surface because he is getting in better shape. That's going to help him. He does some things instinctively. I think he could be a very good defender before he's done. And I think Aaron being a complete player, not all the time consistently, that's what we're working towards. But I think AJ is going to be a rebounding point guard. I think AJ will be a defending point guard. I think he'll continue to work on his shooting, which he's more than adequate, and passing point guard. But he's got long arms, and I think he can do multi-dimensional things. That's why we thought we could play him at many different positions and still do. But and I think Aaron has some of those same qualities, you know, where he's more than one-dimensional, and that's probably helped AJ.
Go next, and then go over and wrap it up with Chris Delory.
Happy New Year. You have mentioned Marty a couple of times in this press conference, but based upon his size and the league that you play in and some of the defensive things that he does, what is your end goal for him this year as in terms of what would make this a successful freshman season for Marty?
Well, It's already been successful for me if you've been around the kid at all, which unfortunately you guys haven't been able to be. He's an unbelievable kid, you know. I tell him, don't become Americanized. I mean, everything's yes sir, no sir. Everything is work your tail off. Everything is be on time. Take care of your business. I don't mean that as big an insult as I sound like I'm making to my own country, but I think sometimes he's not soft. He's not been pampered. He's not been given anything. Where he lives, you know, I laugh because Tom tells stories about where he lives. Tom lives in New York City compared to where Marty is from. And he's just such an incredible kid. He's got shot blocking ability. And remember, he too didn't play for 3/4 of last year. So he's just getting everything back. You know, of all the kids to miss out on a summer and fall, Marty was critical because, you know, he's still trying to get the English language down right. And I don't mean that insultingly either. He's just learning, you know. Guy's a sponge. But what's going to be a successful season, I think he and Markey have got to keep getting better because we're going to need more size. And I think he's got it in him to do that. He had trouble with his hands early on. Now he's catching everything. I think one of the reasons is he's had that finger tape that he broke. But, you know, getting that up to 12, 14 minutes a game, 15, maybe even more, so that we have some consistency. He's big and wide. He can run like a deer. He's got quickness, so I think he'll be able to cover ball screens a little bit better. I mean, I think this kid's going to really help us. I think, like everybody, it's going to take till the second half of the season. But he's helped push Marcus. I think Marcus is better. Not that I'm giving up on Julius or not that I'm giving up on Thomas Kithier either, but I think you have a good point. Size is going to matter here pretty soon, and we're going to have to continue to develop these big guys, and we're working on it.
Just real quick, how have you seen, I mean, because initially when he first was out there, because we do some ISOs with the players, so we can see their eyes, and, you know, when he was first out there initially, his eyes were going like this, trying to figure out, you know, just read what was going on. How have you seen him become a little bit more comfortable, maybe some Eastern Michigan or, you know, early games of the season?
I guess that's the advantage of television and being able to zoom in on people because you're so right. He was just, had like the game, as they say in the NBA or the NFL, you know, the game needs to slow down. Well, his game wasn't at double speed. It was 10 times double speed. And you're right, it was like so many things coming at him and this and that is so understandable. But because he's a student of the game, because he comes in and watches film, everything, you know, academics hasn't been easy for him because he never had an English language base. And how he did at the end of the semester compared to the beginning was remarkable. This kid is a sponge, and I think he is picking up things. But I think you're right on the money. You know, he's had so many things coming at him. It's not easy off the court because of school. It's not easier on the court because we're throwing new plays, and all of a sudden we got different games. He doesn't have a week between games and stuff. But I love how he's handled it. And of all the things, I say this, you know, I'm not happy with the way we played in some ways, but I'm also appreciative. I've got as good a kids. It's a shame that you don't get to be around them more. I probably should, maybe next week we have a little more off week, get everybody in front of a mic so you can all get to know them a little bit better would be a good idea. So I'll try to work on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll go last question to Chris Orr.
With the news today with the NCAA, just wondered, has the Big Ten revisited anything about the Chicago tournament? I mean, is there a possibility that it could maybe move to Indy for a dry run to get that shaped up? I don't know if you've heard anything about where the conference tournament's at right now.
You know, I knew a lot about the NCAA stuff because I'm on those committees. I don't know as much about the conference stuff, to be very blunt and honest with you, not negatively or positively. But it seems like it would be a decent idea, but I don't know how much you can overload one city either. You know, I'm good with whatever they decide to do. You know, we've done a pretty good job in our league. I think we just had our first real postponement of any Big Ten games. I am worried about the next 2 weeks, though, since so many people went home for Christmas, and I know of more than a couple cases. And let me say this, I was so torn during Christmas about what to do. And where I heard some people say they felt sorry for the kids, I didn't. I was more worried about their safety. And I still think that we did the right thing and the best thing we could do. And I'm agreeing with Dr. Fauci that I think the next 2 weeks we could be in for worse because of what everybody did. And I don't think going home was all of it. I think just not abiding by the protocol that we should, as Americans, abide by after 9 months of the damn thing, but we still don't seem to listen. And if you think I'm on a soapbox, you're right, I am. But, I think you look in the league, and we've handled it pretty good as a league. We've handled it pretty good here. Some of it, I think, is the way we handle it. Some of it, I think, we've had luck. We've been lucky. I mean, let's face it. I handled it well and got it, so I'm a walking case. But what they do in the Big Ten, if it's at Chicago, we're going to stick to our same protocol. If it's at Indy, I think it's a good question, Chris. But like I said, I knew what was going on with the NCAA stuff because I'm involved with it more. I do not know what's going on with thoughts of the Big Ten. And really, I've been just trying to breathe through a straw from underwater here the last 2 weeks. So I don't know what's happened with it. Maybe in next week when we have a little time, I should do a better job of following up on that. I'll try to do that too and have a little better clue of what they're thinking or what's going on, if they're sharing it. I'm not saying they will. The NCAA stuff, that's been talk on the committee for 2 months. And about a month ago, I thought it was pretty real, and today they announced it. So I think Danny Gavitt, when it's all said and done, how the the running backs always buy, diamond rings, a car. I've seen so many things that they bought for their linemen. All the coaches across the country should buy Danny Gavitt something, because the job he's done in trying to both deal with the NCAA issues he has to deal with and yet get input from the coaches has been second to none. His father was the godfather of the Big East and started that unbelievable conference that turned into a TV megastar, just the way it all went. They say the chip off the old block or whatever. Danny, his son, has done that and more. His dad should be proud of it, but we should be happy because he is working relentlessly to make sure this tournament happens and that it comes off the right way. And before he's done, I think the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, he'll be in that discussion with all them when they're talking about their leagues, because I think he's done an incredible job with the way everything's went and the cards he's been dealt this year. And hats off to him.
I think that's all the questions we have. Coach, thanks for your time.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Stay safe.